What's up, Tesla family? It's Ray J back with another video, and in this one, I want to break down what's happening with Tesla SPY and the overall market. Let me first mention that I am not a financial planner. Take nothing I say as financial advice, and also, if you guys can, please smash the like button. It not only benefits me, but benefits the entire community as a whole. Anyways, for Tesla, we're not looking that great right now. We saw this nice rejection that came out off this 232 area, and the market saw a very, very negative reaction after we got some important manufacturing numbers. So, what happened with the data? Basically, looking at manufacturing PMI for the S&P global area, this was actually a little bit very close to expectations. But then the ISM manufacturing PMI was below expectations, which is showing weakness for that service. So from the ISM, manufacturing is reducing. It's showing weakness in the sector. Manufacturing employment is also below expectations. This is showing weakness as well. Manufacturing new orders are below expectations, which is showing another slowdown. But despite that happening, despite the slowdown we're seeing in manufacturing, we're also seeing prices still going up. The prices were above expectations, so it's not the best of news. So this data wasn't that great, and the market had a very, very negative reaction to this. That's part of why we saw this dump. Now the question is, how are we going to end up holding supports, and what levels should we be watching for? So I'll be talking about that in just a minute. I just want to mention this: we're seeing a lot of news coming out about Tesla's FSD, and there's been some talk about Elon Musk. So Musk has been talking about the next generational developments, at least for FSD, and we're seeing a lot more changes that are being made. More and more AI developments are going to be continuing to be made for Tesla. And Musk has been talking about the fact that Tesla is going to once again 5 to 10x more miles per intervention during the next updates. So I think it's very, very cool. Now, Musk is getting some criticism for raising the bar a little bit too high too quickly. I'm seeing a lot of headlines that are kind of talking about that. And it's very understandable. I know Musk is a very, very big visionary, and he loves to have very, very big goals and big ambitions. But when it comes to dates and such, he's not always going to be 100% correct. That's still completely understandable, in my opinion. I just want to make it very clear that when it comes to FSD, we shouldn't be way too hyped too quickly for Tesla to fully solve autonomy within just a few months. It could take a lot longer, so you want to be careful. But the best thing that I would say would be to just wait for the Robotaxi event, which is just a few months away, just to see Tesla's latest update for their next product. So that's going to be very important for us. And I think that with the event coming out, there's going to be a lot of very, very cool developments Tesla's going to talk about for FSD and interventions and the new technologies that Tesla's developing. So Musk is once again saying things that Tesla has a clear path to doubling average miles between interventions in August. So that's pretty cool stuff. I think that would be very, very cool as well. Not just for Tesla, but for their main vision, their main goals. So it's very important to note this. I am, very excited for a lot of things that Musk says. I think that for the long term, he is correct about essentially everything about Tesla, at least to a large extent. He's correct about all these different sectors and such. But for the short term, we'll see how things end up going. Anyways, let's go back to Tesla right over here and the markets. So for Tesla, I want to say that we are kind of rejecting off this 232 area, but we haven't lost critical support. Okay, we have supports currently around this 224 area. Tesla's trying to hold that up. If that were to break, our next level would be we have minor support at 222 and strong support at 219. As long as we're above 219, Tesla's still holding up decently. It's not doing too bad. If we do lose 219, there's going to be a bigger drop coming, so you want to be very, very careful. If 219 fails us, I think that we're going down to the 215s or lower, and this could look like a double top if we end up losing the 219 support. But we have resistance in 225s. If we break through that, I'll be looking for 228. Overall, let me just make it very clear that Tesla is kind of range bound. Could dip a little bit more, but there are buyers trying to defend it at 224. It's technically on an uptrend. If you kind of think about it, we had the slowdown here at 210. We've been making higher lows since then. And Tesla's starting to get tighter within this range. So we're going to have to give this a little bit more time to develop. But as long as we don't lose 219, Tesla's going to be fine. It's not doing too bad. And then we also have big tech earnings tomorrow. We have no, I'm sorry. We have big tech earnings after the market closes. The reaction for Tesla is going to really show tomorrow. I want to make that very, very clear. So we have Amazon and Apple announcing earnings after the market closes. That's going to have a big effect on Tesla and all of us. So we'll just have to see how things go with that. Just note that as long as Tesla holds 219, we're going to be fine. And we're kind of shuffling in this 225 area. So we'll just have to hope for the best. For SPY, we're not looking too good. We need to try to reclaim 547, excuse me, in my opinion. If we don't reclaim the 547s, this will be at risk of more downside. Watch 544 to 545 as our next support zone. If we don't reclaim 547, there are buyers trying to defend it, but they're not doing a great job. And right now, the bears are gaining the edge, so they are favoring even more downside into like the mid 540s. So we could be dipping closer to 545, if not lower, if we fail to reclaim 547, and this may continue to fall. If we reclaim 547, we could try to rebound. So watch for that. And then don't forget about big tech earnings coming out. That's going to be very, very key. Nvidia's at support at 114. If that fails, let's look for 112. That's going to be our next target. That's where we had this chop zone. If 112 fails, this will turn really bearish. If we break past 116, that's going to be our resistance. I'll be looking at 117.8 above that. Right now, we're barely holding 114. Nvidia does have a risk a little bit more downside, but we're just barely holding support. So we'll see if buyers could try to defend this or not. For Bitcoin, got a big rejection. We failed to hold 65,000. So now we're seeing a big dip right here. We could continue to fall down to about 62,500. If that fails us, we're going all the way down to about 60,000. So just be careful. There's a risk of downside for Bitcoin. For the QQQ, okay, we were looking for a nice push for about 472. We had to hold 466 at least, and we're kind of seeing buyers attempting to hold that. Look at 466 as resistance. If we fail to hold that, I'll be looking for this gap support at 462. And if that doesn't hold, we have this gap to fill all the way down to about 460. So we'll just have to see if that ends up being the case. There is a risk of some downside on the QQQ if we don't reclaim 466. So that's going to be a key level. 466 is a key level for the QQQ, just like how 547 is a key level for SPY. So make sure you watch those levels carefully. If we don't reclaim them, we're going to be looking for more downside. So we're still looking bearish. We're still falling as I speak. Apple's barely at 220. If we don't hold that, we'll be dipping all the way down towards 218. If we do hold this, we'll be looking for 222. As of right now, we look a little bit more bearish. We have a risk of filling this gap down here. So there might be a little dip on Apple, but we'll see if we get a bounce after earnings or not. That's going to be pivotal for the share price. The IWM is dumping right now. We didn't get a nice rebound. In fact, we actually have a bearish structure, but we're at key support at 216. If we don't hold 216, we'll come down to 213. So watch 216 as critical support, that area. Watch 218 as resistance in 220. We are looking more bearish, but watch and see if 216 holds. Coin is also dipping a little bit. We'll have to see if we end up holding support. We'll be watching basically 214 to see if that holds as well, but there is a risk of downside. Amazon's also dipping. We're going to be looking at 185 as support to see if that holds or not. If it does not hold this, we'll be dipping lower, so give that some time. For Meta, we're dipping. We'll watch 500. If that doesn't hold us, we're coming down to about 494. We'll see if 500 holds. There's a risk of some downside too, so we'll see. Microsoft is also dipping. We got to try to hold above 422. If we don't do so, I see this dipping all the way down towards 415 all over again. So be careful, guys. Microsoft could reject here. Google's also just barely shuffling. We're just shuffling for the time being, so we'll just have to give this some time. The market is very tricky. It's full of manipulation. We could look bullish and then all of a sudden just flip to bearish like very, very quickly. So that's something that's very important about day trading. This could happen all the time. So for now, the bears are fighting, but there's no guarantee this is going to last because we have big tech earnings for tomorrow. There's going to be a really big reaction for the markets. So we'll just have to wait and see how things go. Big tech earnings are after the market closes, but tomorrow's when we're going to see the big reaction. That's what I meant to say. So look for a big reaction tomorrow in the markets, and just know that this is not the end of the world. We'll see if SPY can try to reclaim 547 or not, and if the QQQ reclaims 466. If not, there's going to be more potential downside. Tesla's barely holding this 224 area. If we don't hold this, 222 could come, but we're going to be fine as long as we're above 219. If we lose 219, there's going to be a rug pull, so just be careful on Tesla. Just wanted to give you guys a heads up about that. All right. So we got some negative manufacturing numbers. That's part of why the market's dipping. Keep that in the back of your mind, guys, and I'll see you guys very soon in just a couple of hours for another update. Thank you for listening, and peace out.